Hedge fund quants don't draw trend lines. They don't trade vibes. They calculate the probability of what the market does next, and then they let the math make the call. In this video, I'm installing that exact method into Claude, turning it from a chatbot into a quant trading engine for Bitcoin. No math degree, no emotion, no guessing. I'll explain the whole thing in plain English, then we install it and run it live. And at the end, I'll hand you the exact skill so you can copy this in a few clicks. Let's get into it. Here's the entire foundation. At any moment, the market is in one of three states. Bull, when it's trending up. Bear, when it's selling off. Sideways, when it's just chopping around going nowhere. The trick is we don't eyeball which one we're in. We define it with a hard rule, so there's zero subjectivity. Look at the last 20 days. Up 5% or more? That's a bull day. Down 5 or worse? Bear. Anything in the middle? Sideways. Run that rule across all of Bitcoin's history, and every single day gets a label, automatically. Now the idea that makes this a quant strategy, and it sounds almost reckless. The past doesn't matter. How we got into today's state is irrelevant. The only thing that predicts tomorrow is the state we're in right now. That's called the Markov property. The market is memoryless, and that's not a weakness. It's the whole point. It stops the model from inventing stories about the chart and forces it to answer one cold question. Given that we're in this state today, what does history say happens next? To answer it, we just need to count. We walk through years of Bitcoin history and tag every single jump. Bull followed by bull, bear followed by sideways, sideways followed by bull. Tally them all up. Turn each row into percentages, and you get this, the transition matrix. This little grid is the whole engine. Pick the row for today's state, and you're reading the literal odds of tomorrow. And notice the big numbers running down the middle. That's stickiness. Around 70% of the time, tomorrow stays in today's state. Trends persist. Crashes persist. Chop persists. Bitcoin's single most likely move tomorrow is to keep doing what it's doing today. And now that's a hard number you can trade instead of a feeling. That grid only gives you tomorrow. Want 2 days out? You square the matrix. Want 10 days out? You raise it to the 10th power. The math forecasts multiple days ahead for free. One object, any horizon. But push it far enough and something important happens. The rows stop changing. They collapse into one single set of numbers, no matter which state you started in. That's the stationary distribution, the long-run share of time Bitcoin spends in each regime. And here's the honest part, most gurus hide from you. That's exactly why you can't predict a month out with this. Forecast too far, and today's state stops mattering. Every prediction melts into the same long-run average. So the model tells you its own limits. It's sharp tomorrow, useless in a month, and honest about the difference. So how do we turn a grid into an actual decision? One clean line. Take today's state, read its row, grab the bull probability, subtract the bear probability. That difference is your directional bias. Positive means the odds lean long. Negative means they lean short. The bigger the number, the stronger the edge. One signal. Fully mathematical. Zero emotion. Bull odds minus bear odds. That's the entire decision. Now, anyone can build a model that looks like a genius on old data. The reason most trading bots blow up has a name: look-ahead bias. The model accidentally peaks at the future, looks unstoppable, and then loses real money. So we test it the honest way. Walk forward. Build the matrix using only data up to a given day. Predict the next day. Step forward. Rebuild. Predict. Step forward. The model is never allowed to see a day before it's earned the right to. If the edge survives that, it might actually be real. If it dies here, you just saved your own money finding out. Here's where we actually upgrade it. Everything so far used a hard threshold. 5% up, and you're officially a bull. But what if the market is already turning and just hasn't crossed the line yet? The hard rule is blind to that. So we swap in a hidden Markov model. Instead of you defining the states, the HMM learns them straight from the data. It finds the hidden regime underneath the price before any threshold gets crossed. Same core idea. 3 states, transition odds, a signal. But now the labels aren't your guess. They're discovered by the math. That's the difference between a retail script and the thing a quant desk actually runs. Okay, concept's done. Here's how fast this becomes real, because I package the entire workflow into a Claude skill. A skill is just a folder that teaches Claude how to do one job end to end. You download mine, drop it into Claude's skills folder, and now Claude knows this whole quant workflow on command. Now I don't write code or prompts. I just talk to it like a person. Run the regime analysis on Bitcoin. Use the hidden Markov model, build the transition matrix, generate the bias signal, and backtest it walk forward. One sentence. Claude pulls the data, learns the regimes, builds the matrix, generates today's signal, and runs the honest backtest. The whole quant stack, done. That's installing a quant into your AI. The full Claude skill. The Pine script overlay and the exact prompts are waiting in the Alpha Cartel Discord. Don't rebuild any of it. Copy mine, drop the skill into Claude, point it at any coin, and you'll have this running today. Links in the description.